Picture this, you're a cancer cell minding your own malignant business, dividing uncontrollably, when suddenly, wham, a microscopic guided missile finds you, latches on, and delivers a precision nuclear strike that obliterates you while leaving your healthy neighbors completely unharmed. Sounds like science fiction? This is exactly what's happening in hospitals around the world right now, and it's why the pharmaceutical industry is experiencing its own nuclear arms race. Except this time, we're racing to save lives, not end them. In the last 18 months alone, we've seen around $20 billion in acquisitions as big pharma companies scramble to get their hands on these atomic assassins. Novartis dropped $3.9 billion. Bristol Myers Squibb threw down $4.1 billion. AstraZeneca, $2.4 billion. Eli Lilly, $1.4 billion. It's like watching tech billionaires bid on Twitter, except instead of social media, they're buying companies that turn radioactive atoms into precision medicine. But here's the thing, this isn't just about the money or the science. This is about completely revolutionizing how we treat some of humanity's most devastating diseases. We're talking about patients with late-stage cancers who were once told they had months to live, now seeing their tumor shrink or disappear entirely. We're talking about targeting diseases at the molecular level with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker working with nuclear materials. And the best part, we're just getting started. The same technology that's revolutionizing cancer treatment is now being aimed at Alzheimer's, heart disease, and even infectious diseases. It's like we've discovered fire, except this fire selectively burns only the things we want it to burn at the molecular level. But, and there's always a but, with great radioactive power comes great logistical responsibility. How do you manufacture something with a half-life measured in hours? How do you ship nuclear medicine across the country before it decays into uselessness? Why are pharmaceutical companies literally building factories next to airports? And how do we ensure quality control when a single mistake could be catastrophic? Welcome to Apprentice.io's Industry Insights. I'm Frank Maggiore, and today we're diving into the radioactive world of radiopharmaceuticals, a field so hot right now, it's literally glowing. And yes, that is a radiation joke. So, that's what we're going to explore today. We'll decode the science behind these molecular smart bombs, dive into why investors are throwing billions of dollars at companies you probably never heard of, and reveal how cutting-edge manufacturing technology, including cloud-based manufacturing execution systems that are making the impossible possible. We'll meet the alpha particles, the beta emitters, the different types of radiation that act like our different weapons in our therapeutic arsenal. We'll explore Theranostics, a word that sounds made up, but represents the elegant marriage of diagnostics and therapeutics. Imagine being able to see exactly where the cancer is hiding in your body, then sending in the exact same molecule loaded with radiation to now destroy it. It's like having X-ray vision and heat vision in the same superhero package. And for those of you in manufacturing, logistics, or software, pay close attention, because the challenges these companies face make traditional pharmaceutical manufacturing look like child's play. We're talking about products that literally disappear while you're making them, supply chains that operate on Formula One pit stop timelines, and quality systems that have zero margin for error. So whether you're a scientist, an investor, a patient, a caregiver, or just someone who's curious about this cutting-edge medicine, this episode is for you. Because make no mistake, we're witnessing the dawn of the atomic age of medicine, and it's going to change everything. Ready to go nuclear? Let's dive in. Alright, let's get into the nuclear nuts and bolts of how these radioactive drugs actually work. And I promise, I'll keep the physics lecture to a minimum. This isn't your high school chemistry class, though it is way cooler. So what exactly are radiopharmaceuticals? Think of it as a two-part weapon system. Part 1 is the targeting molecule. This is like the GPS guidance system. It could be an antibody, a peptide, or a small molecule that has a serious crush on specific receptors found on cancer cells. Part 2 is the radioactive payload, the actual warhead that delivers the therapeutic punch. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Remember the term Theranostics I mentioned? It's not a typo or a made-up word from a Marvel movie. It's the combination of therapeutics and diagnostics, and it's absolutely brilliant. Here's how it works. First, you inject a patient with your targeting molecule attached to a diagnostic radioisotope, something that emits gamma rays to where we can detect it with imaging. This lights up all the cancer cells like a Christmas tree on a PET or a SPECT scan. If the scan shows good uptake, meaning the drug found its target, you come back with the exact same targeting molecule, but this time it's carrying a therapeutic radioisotope to go to pound town on those cancer cells. Same address, different package. It's like doing a test run with a tracking device before sending in the actual strike team. Now, let's talk about our radioactive arsenal. We've got two main types of radiation therapy, alpha emitters and beta emitters. Beta particles are like sniper rifles. They can travel several millimeters through tissue, taking out cancer cells in a wider radius. Lutetium-177, one of the current stars, is a beta emitter. It's perfect for larger tumors where you need that penetrating power. Alpha particles, on the other hand, are like shotguns at point-blank range. They're much heavier and much more destructive, but they only travel about 50 to 100 micrometers. That's less than the width of a human hair. But here's the beautiful part. That short range means they can deliver devastating energy to a cancer cell while barely touching the healthy cells right next door. Actinium-225 and radium-223 are alpha emitters, and they're showing incredible promise, especially for micrometastases, those tiny cancer seeds that conventional therapy often misses. Let me give you a real-world example that'll blow your mind. Lutetium-177 PSMA-617, marketed as Pluvicto, targets prostate-specific membrane antigen. In clinical trials, men with metastatic castration-resistant prostate cancer, basically the worst of the worst cases, saw their cancer progression slow or even stop. We're talking about patients who tried everything else. Some saw their PSA levels, that's the blood marker for prostate cancer, drop by 90% or more. Or take Lutetium, which targets neuroendocrine tumors. These are relatively rare cancers that are difficult to treat. Steve Jobs famously battled pancreatic neuroendocrine tumors, PNET, a specific subtype. Before Lutetium, treatment options were very limited. Now, patients are seeing their tumors shrink or stabilize for years. But here's what gets me really excited as someone who loves elegant solutions to complex problems. The same targeting molecule can be used with different isotopes for different purposes. Use gallium-68, you get beautiful diagnostic images. Switch to lutetium-177, you've got a therapy. Working on bone metastases, radium-223 naturally accumulates in the areas of high bone turnover. It literally seeks out bone cancer like a heat-seeking missile. The precision here is mind-blowing. Traditional chemotherapy is like carpet bombing. It hits everything and hopes to do more damage to the cancer than to you. External radiation is more targeted, but you still have to shoot through healthy tissue to reach the tumor. But radiopharmaceuticals, they're like having millions of tiny smart bombs circulating through your bloodstream. Each one programmed to find and destroy specific targets. And we're not just limited to cancer here. Researchers are developing radiopharmaceuticals for amyloid plaques and Alzheimer's disease, for imaging heart disease at the molecular level, and even for targeting bacterial infections that antibiotics can't reach. The science is complex, sure, but the concept is beautifully simple. Find what makes disease cells unique, design a molecule that seeks out that unique feature, attach a radioactive atom, and let chemistry and physics do its thing. It's precision medicine at its finest, and we're just scratching the surface on what's possible. Now let's talk money, because holy isotopes, Batman, the cash is flowing in faster than neutrons in a nuclear reactor. If you want to understand why radiopharmaceuticals are hotter than a fresh out of the cyclone batch of fluorine-18, just follow the money. And trust me, there's a lot of money to follow. Let's start with the acquisition that really kicked off this gold rush. In 2018, Novartis bought Advanced Accelerator Applications for $3.9 billion. At the time, some analysts thought they'd lost their minds. Advanced Accelerator Applications' main product, Lutetium, had just been approved for a relatively rare cancer. $4 billion for a rare disease drug? Fast forward to today, and Novartis looks like Warren Buffett-level genius. Lutetium is crushing it, and Advanced Accelerator Applications pipeline has led to Pluvicto, which could easily become a multi-billion-dollar drug on its own. Suddenly, $3.9 billion looks like the bargain of the century. This triggered the nuclear arms race inside of pharma. Bristol Myers Squibb said, "Hold my beer," and dropped $4.1 billion to acquire Raise Bio. Not to be outdone, AstraZeneca threw $2.4 billion at Fusion Pharmaceuticals. Eli Lilly grabbed up Point Biopharma for $1.4 billion. Even companies you wouldn't expect are jumping in. Bayer, Merck, Johnson & Johnson, they're all either acquiring, partnering, or frantically building their own radiopharmaceutical programs. But here's the thing that makes my manufacturing brain explode with excitement. These aren't your typical pharma acquisitions where you're basically buying patents and hoping for the best. These companies are buying entire ecosystems, specialized manufacturing facilities, rare isotope supply chains, teams of nuclear physicists and radiochemists. You can't just retrofit a normal pharma plant to make these drugs. You need hot cells, cyclotrons, specialized quality control systems, and, this is crucial, you need to have them located strategically near your patients. Speaking of valuations, let's talk about some numbers that would make even crypto bros jealous. Raise Bio, which Bristol Myers Squibb bought, they paid $62.50 per share, 104% premium. That's right, they literally paid double the market price. Point Pharma went for an 85% premium. These aren't just acquisitions, they're more like hostile takeovers where the target company said, please take us. Why are companies paying such insane premiums? 3 reasons. First, the market opportunity is massive. We're talking about a total addressable market that could hit around $30 billion by 2030. Second, the barriers to entry are astronomical. You can't just decide to start a radiopharmaceutical company in your garage. You need regulatory approvals that make regular drug approvals look easy. Specialized facilities that cost hundreds of millions of dollars to build. And expertise that's rarer than plutonium. Third, and this is the kicker, the competitive advantage is incredible. Once you have a working radiopharmaceutical for a specific target, it's almost impossible for competitors to catch up. The clinical trials take years, the manufacturing is incredibly complex, and patients and doctors become loyal to what works. But it's not just big pharma writing checks. The venture capital and private equity world has gone nuclear too. Perceptive Advisors, Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, they're all pouring money into radiopharmaceutical startups. We're seeing Series A rounds of $100 million plus. That's Silicon Valley level funding for companies that most people have never even heard of. And here's something that should make everyone in the audience sit up straight. This isn't speculation or hype. These drugs are working. They're extending lives. They're turning terminal diagnoses into manageable conditions. The science has proven the clinical results are spectacular, and the market is responding accordingly. We're also seeing interesting geographical trends. While the US and Europe dominate, Asia is catching up fast. China, Japan, and South Korea are investing heavily in both research and manufacturing capacity. Even the Middle East is getting involved. The UAE just announced $1 billion investment in nuclear medicine infrastructure. For investors listening, here's my take. We're still in the early innings. Yes, the valuations are high, but compared to the potential market, there's a lot of room to grow. For entrepreneurs, there's opportunities in the picks and shovels businesses, specialized equipment, software, and logistics. They're all enormous. And for big pharma companies that haven't made the move yet, the clock is ticking, and the price of admission is only going up. The message is clear. Radiopharmaceuticals aren't just the future of cancer treatment. They're the future of medicine, period. And the business world is betting accordingly. Okay, folks, buckle up, because we're about to dive into what I consider the most insane logistical challenge in all of pharmaceutical manufacturing. If you think making regular drugs is hard, try making drugs that literally disappear while you're making them. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're baking a cake, but your flour has a half-life of 6 hours. Oh, and it's radioactive. And it costs around $50,000 per gram. And if you don't get it to the customer within 24 hours, it turns into useless dust. Welcome to the world of radiopharmaceutical manufacturing. Let's start with the physics problem that makes everything else look easy. Many medical isotopes have half-lives measured in hours or days. Fluorine-18, 110 minutes. Gallium-68, 68 minutes. That's right, 68 minutes. In just over an hour, half of your product has decayed away. By the time you've made it, tested it, packaged it, and ship it, you might have lost 75% or more of your active ingredient. That's why geography has become destiny in radiopharmaceuticals. Companies are literally building manufacturing facilities based on flight schedules. I'm not kidding. There's a reason why major radiopharmaceutical facilities are popping up near Indianapolis, Newark, Salt Lake City, and Toronto. It's not for the barbecue, it's because these are major shipping hubs for FedEx, UPS, and other logistical companies. Some companies have their production schedule synchronized with FedEx flight times. They start production at 2 a.m. so they can release the product at 6 a.m. for a 7 a.m. pickup that gets on a 9 a.m. flight. It's like a pharmaceutical pit crew operation. Every minute counts. But wait, it gets crazier. You can't just throw these products in a box and ship them. They're radioactive. You need specialized containers that shield the radiation, maintain temperature, and meet about 17 different regulatory requirements. These containers can cost more than a luxury car, and you need hundreds of them. Then there's the supply chain for the raw materials. The isotopes themselves come from nuclear reactors or cyclotrons. There are a very limited number of these nuclear reactors worldwide that produce medical isotopes. If one goes down for maintenance, which happens regularly, it can create local or even global shortages. Remember the molybdenum-99 crisis a few years back? When a reactor in Canada shut down, it affected medical imaging worldwide. Molybdenum-99 is a precursor to the medical isotope technetium-99m, used in millions of medical procedures annually. A 2007 shutdown of the National Research Universal NRU reactor in Chalk River, Ontario, for maintenance and safety upgrades caused a significant shortage of molybdenum-99, impacting medical isotope supplies across North America. This event highlighted the fragility of the global medical isotope supply chain, which relies on a limited number of reactors for molybdenum-99 production. This is why companies are getting creative. Some are building their own cyclotrons. Imagine having your own personal nuclear reactor. Others are creating networks of production sites. Novartis, for example, is building a network of radioligand therapy production facilities around the world. Each one costs hundreds of millions of dollars and takes years to build and certify. The cold chain requirements make COVID vaccine distribution look like child's play. We're not just maintaining temperature, we're maintaining temperature while dealing with radioactive decay, pressure changes during flights, and time constraints that would make Amazon Prime jealous. Some products need to be kept at minus 80 degrees Celsius while being shipped across the country in under 12 hours. And here's where it gets really interesting for my manufacturing and software folks. Quality control and documentation in this environment is insane. You need to track not just batch numbers and temperatures, but radiation levels, decay calculations, and chain of custody down to the minute. This is where cloud-based manufacturing execution systems are becoming absolutely critical. You need real-time visibility across multiple sites, instant access to decay calculations, and the ability to adjust production schedules on the fly based on transportation availability. One delayed flight can cascade through your entire production schedule. Radiopharmaceutical companies use predictive analytics to anticipate weather delays and adjust production accordingly. They're literally checking weather forecasts 3 days out to decide when to start making product. It's like being a pharmaceutical meteorologist. The personnel requirements are equally challenging. You need people who understand radiochemistry, pharmaceutical manufacturing, and nuclear safety. These folks are rarer than the isotopes they're working with. Companies are paying Silicon Valley salaries to attract talent to places like the suburbs of Indianapolis. But here's the beautiful thing. The industry is rising to the challenge. We're seeing innovations in everything from automated synthesis modules that reduce radiation exposure to workers to AI-powered scheduling systems that optimize production based on patient appointments. Some companies are even experimenting with drone delivery for short distances. The future? Mobile production units that can be deployed closer to patients, on-demand isotope production using new accelerator technologies, and even the possibility of bedside production for ultra-short-lived isotopes. Imagine a future where the drug is made in the same building where it's being administered. We're not there yet, but it's not as crazy as it sounds. The message for anyone in manufacturing or logistics: if you can solve problems in radiopharmaceuticals, you can solve problems anywhere. This is the Formula One of pharmaceutical manufacturing. The innovations being developed here will eventually trickle down to all of pharma. And for those of you running manufacturing execution systems or supply chain systems, this industry needs you desperately. All right, my fellow manufacturing nerds, this is where things get really juicy. We're going to deep dive into how these facilities actually work. And trust me, it's like nothing you've seen in traditional pharma. Picture this, it's 3 a.m. in a radiopharmaceutical production facility outside Indianapolis. While most of America is sleeping, a team of specialists in lead-lined rooms is racing against atomic clocks to create personalized cancer treatments. They're not just following SOPs, they're orchestrating a complex dance between nuclear physics, chemistry, and logistics that would make a Swiss watchmaker weep with envy. Let's start with the heart of the operation, the hot cells. These aren't your grandmother's fume hoods. We're talking about massive lead-lined chambers with windows made of lead glass that's 2 feet thick. Everything inside is operated by robot arms that the operators control from outside. It's like playing the world's highest stakes video game, except the prize is someone's life-saving medication. The synthesis modules inside of these hot cells are marvels of engineering. They're completely automated systems that can take a radioisotope and chemically attach it to a targeting molecule in a matter of minutes. But here's the kicker: they have to do it perfectly every single time. There's no rework in radiopharmaceuticals. If something goes wrong, by the time you figure it out, your isotope has decayed and you're starting from scratch with very expensive radioactive waste. Quality control in this environment is unlike anything in traditional pharma. You can't send samples to QC and just wait for the results. Your product would be gone by then. Instead, everything is tested in real time. Radio TLC, HPLC with radiation detectors, instant sterility testing using specialized equipment. Results need to be available in minutes, not hours or days. This is where cloud-based manufacturing execution systems aren't just a nice to have, they're absolutely essential. These systems are tracking everything in real time: radiation levels, chemical purity, sterility test results, environmental conditions, operator exposure, and decay calculations. But here's what really sets modern radiopharmaceutical manufacturing apart: the integration of predictive analytics and artificial intelligence. These systems are constantly learning, optimizing yields, predicting equipment failures before they happen, and adjusting processes based on decay rates. The regulatory compliance aspect is fascinating too. These facilities operate under dual regulation: FDA for the drug aspects and Nuclear Regulatory Commission for the radioactive components. Documentation requirements make regular pharma look simple. Every movement of radioactive material must be tracked. Every exposure must be documented. Every waste product must be accounted for until it decays to safe levels. This is where cloud-based manufacturing execution systems come in to help connect their entire network of facilities. When a patient in Los Angeles is scheduled to receive treatment on Thursday at 2 p.m., the system automatically calculates backwards when the dose needs to arrive, when it needs to ship, when the production needs to start, even which facility should produce it based on flight schedules and current capacity. The system then reserves reactor time for radioisotope production, schedules the synthesis, assigns the operators, and even generates the shipping labels, all automatically. If there's a flight delay or a reactor issue, it instantly recalculates and adjusts. It's like having an AI air traffic controller, but for radioactive drugs. But the real revolution is in personalized manufacturing. Some facilities are now setting up to produce patient-specific doses. The patient's imaging data comes in, gets analyzed by AI to determine the optimal dose, and triggers production of exactly what that patient needs. No waste, no excess, just precision medicine manufactured on demand. The clean room requirements add another layer of complexity. These aren't just ISO Class 7 clean rooms, they're ISO Class 7 clean rooms that also have to contain radiation. The HVAC systems are engineering marvels, maintaining positive pressure to keep contamination out while also ensuring no radioactive particles escape. Air changes happen every few minutes, and every particle is monitored. Training in these facilities is intense. New operators spend months learning, not just with the procedures, but the theory behind them. They need to understand nuclear physics, radiochemistry, aseptic processing, and safety protocols. Many companies are starting to use virtual reality training now. Operators can practice procedures in a virtual hot cell before they ever touch real radioactive materials. The future of radiopharmaceutical manufacturing is even more exciting. We're seeing development of continuous manufacturing processes for radiopharmaceuticals, microreactors that can produce isotopes on site, and even AI-designed synthesis routes that can optimize both yield and speed. For those of you in manufacturing, here's my challenge. If you think your current processes are optimized, come spend a day in a radiopharmaceutical facility. Watch people manufacture products with half-lives shorter than a Netflix episode. See quality systems that release products based on predictions because there's no time for traditional testing. Experience the adrenaline rush of knowing that every second of delay means less medicine for a patient. This isn't just manufacturing, it's manufacturing on the knife's edge of what's possible. And the tools and techniques being developed here, especially in digitization, automation, and real-time quality systems, will transform all of pharmaceutical manufacturing in the years to come. Now, if you thought radiopharmaceuticals were just about zapping cancer cells, oh boy, do I have some mind-blowing applications to share with you. We're entering territory that sounds more like science fiction than science fact, but I assure you, this is real and it's happening right now. Let's start with the brain, that 3-pound universe between your ears that we're only beginning to understand. Alzheimer's disease has been the white whale of pharma for decades. Billions spent, countless failures, and we're still basically treating the symptoms, not the causes. Enter radiopharmaceuticals. Right now, today, we have PET imaging agents that can light up amyloid plaques and tau tangles in living brains. Florbetapir and fluortaucipir, these aren't Pokemon characters, they're revolutionary diagnostic tools that let us see Alzheimer's pathology years before symptoms appear. But here's where it gets really exciting. Researchers are now developing therapeutic radiopharmaceuticals that can actually clear these plaques. Imagine this, instead of waiting for Alzheimer's to destroy memories, we can detect the first signals of plaque buildup and then send in targeted alpha emitters to vaporize them before they can cause damage. It's like having a molecular cleanup crew for your brain. Early studies in mice are showing remarkable results, and human trials are just ramping up. But it's not just Alzheimer's. Parkinson's disease, with its characteristic loss of dopamine neurons, is another target. Researchers are developing radiopharmaceuticals that can selectively bind to alpha-synuclein aggregates, the protein clumps that kill brain cells in Parkinson's. The idea is to hit these aggregates with targeted radiation before they have the ability to spread. Now let's talk hearts. Cardiovascular disease kills more people globally than anything else, and radiopharmaceuticals are bringing new precision to both diagnosis and treatments. We already have amazing cardiac PET agents that can show blood flow, metabolism, and even nerve function in the heart. But therapeutic applications are where things get really wild. Researchers are developing radiopharmaceuticals that target vulnerable plaques, those unstable deposits in arteries that cause heart attacks. Current treatments try to stabilize these plaques with drugs, but what if we could selectively destroy them with targeted radiation? Early animal studies show we can reduce plaque burden by up to 40% without damaging the arterial wall. There's also fascinating work on targeting cardiac fibrosis, the scarring that happens after heart attacks. Fibroblast activation protein, or FAP, is highly expressed in cardiac scar tissue. FAP-targeted radiopharmaceuticals could potentially break down this scar tissue and improve heart function. It's like a molecular renovation crew, but for damaged hearts. But wait, there's more. Infectious diseases. Yes, infectious diseases are getting the radiopharmaceutical treatment as well. This one really bends people's minds. How do you target bacteria or viruses with radiation without nuking the patient? The answer is brilliant. Many pathogens have unique metabolic signatures. For example, tuberculosis bacteria have a unique cell wall component called arabinogalactin. Researchers have developed radiopharmaceuticals that bind specifically to this component. In drug-resistant tuberculosis cases where antibiotics fail, targeted radiation could be the answer. There's even work on COVID-19. Some researchers are developing radiopharmaceuticals that specifically target ACE2 receptors that the virus uses to enter cells. It's not meant to treat active infections, but rather to clear persistent viral reservoirs in long COVID patients. Inflammatory diseases are another frontier. Rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, even psoriasis all involve overactive immune cells that could be selectively targeted. Radiosynovectomy, injecting radiopharmaceuticals directly into inflamed joints, is already used in some countries for severe arthritis. The next generation will be systemic treatments that find inflammation wherever it hides. Here's one that'll really blow your mind. Metabolic diseases. Type 2 diabetes involves dysfunction of insulin-producing beta cells. Researchers are developing radiopharmaceuticals that can selectively target and ablate dysfunctional beta cells while sparing the healthy ones. It's like a cellular reset button for your pancreas. The veterinary world is getting in on the action too. Dogs get cancer at roughly the same rate as humans, and many of those same radiopharmaceuticals work in our furry friends as well. There's even a company developing radiopharmaceuticals specifically for horses with bone cancer. If it works in a 1,200-pound horse, scaling to humans becomes much easier. But perhaps the most exciting development is the theranostic platforms that can be adapted for multiple diseases. Companies are developing modular systems where the targeting molecule can be swapped out, like changing drill bits. Same radioisotope, same chemistry, different target. It's like having a universal weapon system that can be programmed for different missions. The implications are staggering. We're moving from one drug, one disease, to one platform, many diseases. The same manufacturing facilities, the same quality systems, the same distribution networks, but treating everything from cancer to infections to metabolic disorders. For those of you in the industry, this diversification is crucial. It reduces risk, expands markets, and leverages investments in infrastructure. For patients, it means that innovation in cancer treatment can rapidly translate to treatment for completely different diseases. The message is clear. Radiopharmaceuticals aren't just cancer drugs that happen to be radioactive. They're a fundamentally new modality in medicine, as transformative as antibiotics or vaccines. And we're just beginning to explore what's possible when you combine the precision of molecular targeting with the power of atomic physics. Alright, future fans, let's look into our crystal ball to see what the future of radiopharmaceuticals will look like. And trust me, the future is going to be so bright, you're going to need lead-lined shades. Let's start with the next generation of isotopes. Right now, we're mostly using isotopes that have been around since bell-bottoms were cool the first time. But the new kids on the atomic block are something special. Take actinium-225. This alpha emitter is like the Mike Tyson of radioisotopes. It packs 100 times more punch than beta emitters, but with surgical precision. The problem? There's barely enough of it in the world to treat a few thousand patients a year. Enter the particle accelerator revolution. Companies and governments are investing billions into new production methods. The Department of Energy just announced a program to increase actinium-225 production by 50-fold. Private companies are building compact accelerators that can produce medical isotopes on site. Imagine hospitals having their own isotope production. It's like having a pharmaceutical factory in your basement, except the basement needs radiation shielding. But the real game changer is targeted alpha therapy, or TAT. While we've been playing with beta emitters like we're still in the minor leagues, alpha emitters are the majors. Lead-212, bismuth-213, astatine-211. These isotopes can deliver cell-killing radiation with sniper precision. One alpha particle can cause enough DNA damage to kill a cell, while beta particles might need hundreds of hits. But here's where AI enters the chat, and not in a buzzworthy bingo way. AI is revolutionizing how we design radiopharmaceuticals. Companies are using machine learning to predict which molecular structures will best target specific cancers. It's like having a crystal ball, except instead of vague prophecies, it gives you molecular blueprints. Companies are feeding their AI systems data from thousands of failed and successful radiopharmaceutical designs. The AI identifies the patterns that humans might miss and designs a new compound that has 10x or better tumor uptake than anything they've made before. And all this happens in days that would have taken human researchers years to achieve. But AI isn't just designing drugs, it's personalizing treatments. Imagine this, a patient gets a diagnostic scan, AI analyzes the image and identifies not just where the tumors are, but the specific molecular signatures. Then, it calculates the optimal isotope, dose, and timing for that individual patient. It's personalized medicine on steroids, radioactive steroids. The combination therapy revolution is another frontier that's got me more excited than a kid in a candy store, a radioactive candy store. We're learning that radiopharmaceuticals plus immunotherapy isn't just 1 + 1 = 2, it's more like 1 + 1 = 10. Radiation can turn cold tumors hot, making them visible to the immune system. Then, immunotherapy comes in for the knockout punch. Clinical trials combining Lutetium-177 with checkpoint inhibitors are showing response rates that make oncologists do double takes. Tumors that laughed at immunotherapy alone are melting away when you add targeted radiation. It's like the radiation is kicking down the door for the immune system to storm in. But here's the innovation that really blows my mind: in vivo generators. These are radiopharmaceuticals that can carry a parent isotope that decays into a therapeutic daughter isotope inside the body. It's like a time-release capsule, but with nuclear decay. The parent isotope has a longer half-life for delivery, then transforms into the therapeutic isotope right at the tumor site. It solves the half-life problem when maximizing therapeutic effect. Nanotechnology is entering the radiopharmaceutical space in a big way. Researchers are developing nanoparticles that carry multiple isotopes, targeting molecules, and even chemotherapy drugs. These aren't just drugs, they're molecular Swiss Army knives. One nanoparticle platform can deliver alpha radiation to kill cancer cells, beta radiation for deeper penetration, and chemotherapy for any cells that radiation missed. The regulatory landscape is evolving too, and in a good way. The FDA recently released new guidance that streamlines approval for radiopharmaceuticals. They're recognizing that these aren't traditional drugs and need different frameworks. Europe is harmonizing regulations across countries, making it easier to distribute time-sensitive products across borders. Here's a wild card: radiopharmaceuticals in space. I'm not making this up. NASA is funding research into radiopharmaceuticals that could treat radiation-induced cancers in astronauts. The same targeted therapies that work on Earth could protect our species when we become interplanetary. How's that for big thinking? The manufacturing innovations coming are equally mind-blowing. Continuous flow chemistry for radiopharmaceuticals could reduce production time from hours to minutes. 3D printed synthesis modules that can be customized for different products. Microfluidic devices that can make patient-specific doses using nanoliters of reagents. But perhaps the most exciting development is the democratization of radiopharmaceuticals. As production becomes more automated and regulations streamlined, smaller hospitals and clinics will be able to offer these treatments. Mobile production units could bring radiopharmaceuticals to underserved areas. Imagine a truck that's a complete radiopharmaceutical factory, driving to rural hospitals to produce and deliver treatments on site. The convergence of all these technologies, AI, nanotechnology, advanced isotopes, automated manufacturing, is creating a near-perfect storm of innovation. We're not just improving existing treatments, we're creating entirely new categories of medicine. For investors and entrepreneurs listening, the opportunities are everywhere, from AI platforms for drug design to specialized logistics companies, from novel production technologies to patient management software. This isn't a gold rush where only the miners get rich. The whole ecosystem is exploding with opportunity. The next decade in radiopharmaceuticals will make the last decade look like we were playing with stone tools. We're on the cusp of treatments that would seem like magic to someone from just 20 years ago. And the best part, we're just getting started. Well, folks, we've been on quite the journey today, from the subatomic world of alpha particles to the boardrooms where billion-dollar deals are reshaping medicine. And if your head is spinning faster than the electrons around a nucleus, don't worry. That's the appropriate response to witnessing a revolution in real time. Let's take a step back and appreciate what we're really talking about here. We're not just discussing a new class of drugs or a hot investment trend. We're witnessing the convergence of nuclear physics, molecular biology, artificial intelligence, and advanced manufacturing to create something that would have been pure science fiction just a generation ago. We're literally harnessing the fundamental forces of the universe to heal people. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, check your pulse. Think about where we've come from. Just 50 years ago, cancer was essentially a death sentence. The best we could do was cut it out, burn it with radiation, or poison it with chemotherapy, and hope we didn't kill the patient in the process. Today, we're sending molecular guided missiles that can find a single cancer cell hiding among billions of healthy ones and eliminate it with surgical precision. That's not just progress, that's a complete paradigm shift. But here's what really matters. Behind every scientific breakthrough, every billion-dollar acquisition, every successfully manufactured dose, there's a human story. There's a parent who gets to see their kids graduate, a grandparent who gets to hold their grandchild, a person who was told they had months to live, now making plans for years ahead. And we're just getting started. Every challenge we discussed today, the complex manufacturing, the insane logistics, the regulatory hurdles, these aren't roadblocks, they're opportunities for innovation. Every problem solved in radiopharmaceuticals pushes the entire field of medicine forward. The AI systems developed to predict isotope decay will improve all drug manufacturing. The supply chains built to deliver time-sensitive radiopharmaceuticals will revolutionize how we think about pharmaceutical distribution. For those of you in the industry, whether you're in pharma, biotech, manufacturing, software, or logistics, you have a chance to be a part of something historic. This isn't just another market opportunity, it's a chance to fundamentally change how we treat diseases. The person who figures out how to make actinium-225 at scale, or develops a perfect cloud-based system for managing radiopharmaceutical production, or creates the ideal shipping container for radioactive drugs, you're not just solving a business problem, you're saving lives. To the researchers and scientists listening, keep pushing. Every failed experiment teaches us something new. Every incremental improvement matters. The next breakthrough might come from your lab, your idea, your refusal to accept that something is impossible. To the investors and business leaders, yes, the returns can be spectacular, but remember what those returns represent. They're a scorecard for how much value you're creating in the world. Every dollar invested in radiopharmaceuticals is a bet on extending and improving human life. It's capitalism at its absolute best, doing well by doing good. To the patients and families dealing with cancer or other diseases, there is more reason for hope today than ever before in human history. The cavalry isn't just coming, it's here, and it's armed with atomic precision. The treatments available today are miraculous compared to a decade ago, and what's coming in the next decade will make today's miracles look primitive. And to everyone else, spread the word. Too many people don't even know these treatments exist. Too many patients are suffering with outdated therapies when revolutionary treatments are available. Be an advocate, ask questions, demand better. Because the future of medicine isn't something that happens to us, it's something that we create together. Here's my call to action, and it's a big one. Let's make radiopharmaceuticals accessible to everyone who needs them. That means solving the manufacturing challenges, building the infrastructure, training the workforce, and yes, figuring out how to make these treatments more affordable. Because a miracle medicine that only the wealthy can access isn't a complete victory. It's just the first step. We have the science, we have the technology, we have the investment. Now, we need the will to scale this revolution globally. Every manufacturing innovation, every process improvement, every efficiency gain brings us closer to a world where a cancer diagnosis is an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. You know, they say that in every atom, there's enough energy to power a city. Well, in every radiopharmaceutical, there's enough hope to change a life. And in this industry, there's enough potential to change the world. We're not just in the business of making radioactive drugs, we're in the business of making tomorrows possible. We're giving people time with loved ones, time to pursue dreams, time to contribute to the world. And really, what could be more valuable than that? So as we wrap up today's journey through the radioactive revolution in medicine, remember this: we are living in the most extraordinary time in human history to face a disease. The convergence of human ingenuity, technological capability, and sheer determination is creating miracles daily. The atomic age of medicine isn't coming, it's here, and it's absolutely glowing with possibility. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey. Keep innovating, keep pushing boundaries, and keep believing in the power of human ingenuity to overcome any challenge. Because together, we're not just fighting disease, we're redefining what it means to be human in the 21st century. In an industry where precision and compliance are paramount, Apprentice's Tempo platform offers a cutting-edge manufacturing execution system solution. It's cloud-based, mobile-first, operator-centric, with the most intuitive UI in the industry, making it perfect for today's dynamic pharmaceutical manufacturing environments and for the production of the world's most complex drug products. Whether you're working on groundbreaking cell and gene therapies, biologics, or small molecules, Tempo provides a fully validated MES system that's both powerful and easy to use. It streamlines your processes, ensures compliance, and adapts to your specific manufacturing needs. So get off of paper batch records and discover how Apprentice's Tempo Manufacturing Cloud can transform your operations by visiting us at apprentice.io. Attention industry professionals, revolutionize your manufacturing process with the Apprentice Tempo Manufacturing Cloud, a manufacturing execution system built to streamline your operations, boost efficiency, and ensure compliance all in one powerful platform. Experience the future of manufacturing with our free 30-day trial. Scan the QR code on your screen now to unlock a world of innovation. Don't just keep pace, set the tempo as an industry leader with Apprentice. That's all for Apprentice.io's Industry Insights. I'm Frank Maggiore. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notifications when new episodes drop. Please comment on if you have any additional topics you would like for me to cover in this space, and we'll see you next week for more Industry Insights.